Hey guys, I'm down here. This is going to be my chapter review to Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia 243. It's called Onward to the Endeavor's Office. I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought it was good. We start off with this nice double spread really of Kirishima, Mina, Shoto, Bakugo, Ochako, Deku, all in these kind of like black and brown outfits with this really kind of retro-ish vibe in the back. Ochako, I think, looks the most fire here. Yeah, I think Ochako looks awesome, but then seeing Kirishima with his hair down like that also looks pretty cool. So going straight into the chapter, we start on New Year's Eve, Deku's apartment with his mom, and basically the kids have all been allowed one day where they can go and visit their families, but they have to be guarded by a pro hero. So he's here at home talking to his mom about how his quirk went ape shit. Uraraka, who's the Chaco, and Shinso managed to help him out in terms of controlling Black Whip, but his mom's hearing about all this shit, like all the destruction, all the fact that he can't control his quirk or couldn't control his quirk, and obviously she's having a heart attack. She's just like, this is crazy. You've got super strength, you've got another quirk, you're going ape shit. It's such a danger, and for a mother of any child, she would obviously be a little bit, at least a little bit concerned, especially Deku's mom, who's a little bit on the anxious side of things anyway. So then he's talking about Eri to his mother. His mom already knows about Eri. Deku has regular phone calls with his mom, and he talks about a letter that Eri has written him, and it's really cute because he's like, oh yeah, she wrote it for me while learning to write the alphabet. I was like, yo shit, she's learning to write the alphabet, but she can still write words and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So she must have definitely had like some sort of help, but the letter is quite important because it says, it's talking about the festival thing they had where Deku's class did the whole musical number and stuff like that, and she's talking about how she enjoyed the dance and song, she enjoyed the candy and all that good stuff, but then she says right at the end, my quirk is, and then Deku's finger just covers that last part. So Horikoshi is definitely setting something up with Eddie's quirk. We just don't know what it is right now. It could be my quirk is going apeshit, it could be my quirk is difficult to handle, it could be my quirk is under control. Who knows? She's written something about her quirk. She's a child. I doubt it would be under control. I doubt it would be my quirk is going apeshit. It could be something like my quirk is back, or my quirk is good, or something like that. Maybe it's a change in mindset for her, but there's something about her quirk. That's all we know. And here we have Deku kind of talking about how he was hardly able to do anything for her, but even so, she tried her best to write for me. And I'm just like, Deku needs to actually take a step back and remove the kind of humble character he has and realize that he did actually help Eri a lot. Like, without him, Eri would have been in that depth of depression, that depth of despair, where she was being used, abused by Chisaki and the forgotten what they even called, but basically their underground syndicate. And she was being manipulated, her quirk was being used. She would have been a very dangerous villain in the future if Chisaki had managed to kind of not just utilize her quirk, but then mold her into something more. She would have been incredibly dangerous. So I think Deku needs to understand he really, really saved a child from what could have been a very, very dark future, and he needs to understand that. His mother's there crying, talking about, obviously, when she hears the story from, the letter of Eri, she realizes how much Deku has grown. She's like, when you were little, you loved to pretend to be All Might. You'd come back in bruises saying how you'd help all these people, even though you didn't really have the power to do it. So that's why she always felt like she had to protect Deku, and she'd felt that way for the longest time until All Might came to her and said, basically, your kid's got a quirk. I'm gonna make him a badass. He's coming to UA with me. He's gonna be a hero. And she feels relief, that kind of huge sense of that burden it would be for any mother really to have to protect their child to the end. It's not a relief of, I don't have to do it anymore, because a mother will always protect their child no matter how old the child is, but she's just relieved that her child can fend for himself a little bit more now, and is growing to the capacity of like a top hero, so that he won't just be able to defend himself, but attend to his dream, which was protect other people. So then we come to New Year's Day. He's getting on the bus to go to his internship. His mom's there telling him to pack and stuff like that. We see Cement Dude. And then we go to another scene where we see Hawks at the Liberation Front's kind of mansion. And Sliden goes there asking Hawks, like, where the hell did you run off to? And he's talking about how he went for a coffee run. Sliden Go here is really trying to press his authority over Hawks. He's like, you can't just fly out whenever you please. You can't just get a coffee like that. Where we're a freaking villainous group. You need permission for that shit. I liked Hawks' comeback, which is really, I thought we were fighting for the like people's freedom. Why do I have to do the opposite of like, being free and ask you to do whatever I want to do? Slide and Go tries to push his authority here, saying I'm your superior. And then we got the Gorillas dude and come out, and he really roasts Slide and Go. He's like, you're his superior? Wait a sec. He's like, what type of influence or spread do you have over like indoctrinating the masses, or even doctrine over the masses? You can't get any status information out of key figures in the hero system, whereas Hawks, he can get location data, communication records, real-time conversations, visuals. He has micro devices that in his wings, and I was like, yo, shit, like Hawks he's diving deep. We know he's a double agent, but he is diving really deep to give these guys like solid concrete information, but also making sure obviously the heroes don't suspect him, even though the top figures would know. But you know, he's really selling out some big time information. I'm not sure how the heroes are consolidating this. Like, do they give some false information? But surely it has to be true for the most part, because then the villains would be a little bit wary. Like, everything that we hear from Hawks is micro senses. Everything we hear is false, so there has to be something wrong, you know. So Hawks is giving away some real big time information, and it's something he has to do. So for me, what I'm realizing from this chapter and from other chapters is, out of all the heroes that we've seen so far, Hawks is in probably the most dire and difficult situation. And I feel like in the future there's gonna be a Hawks kind of there has to be a Hawks sacrificial scene, you know, where he has to get rid of his guys. He's gonna go there and he's gonna save like one of the kids or something like that. He's gonna save Deku or some shit like that, and he's gonna die. Hawks is gonna die. I'm gonna say it. And it's gonna be a sad scene, because he's probably gonna be remembered as the villain or something like that. Whereas only the heroes would know that, you know, Hawks was this solid guy, this double agent essentially, who was always thinking of, you know, being a hero. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Hawks is going to have a really tragic storyline going forward, and I'm ready for it. Gorilla's guy seems to really like Hawks though. We then see what Hawks actually did on his coffee break. He talks to the hero figures about making contact with Dabi, about how he still can't let his guard down, how he would prefer for their conversations to now be all in code, and he can't really afford any more time, afford to waste any more time in locating the source of the Nomu, which would be Dr. Eggman, forgotten what his name is. So then we come to the kids and Endeavor. Endeavor here gives a really kind of charismatic smile to the kids. He's like, welcome. And they're all looking at him like, yo, who the heck is this? And he's, it's pretty funny. Welcome to the Endeavor offices. They're just looking at him like, you know, what the heck's going on here? And then the very next page is like, that's my ass. Am I going to show you that face? This is not the mood I'm in. This is not the mood I'm ever in. And then he's complaining to the kids like openly. He's like, I reluctantly gave my permission to train you guys because Shoto asked, but I wanted Shoto to come along. You know, he's doing that whole thing of, you know, he wanted just some father-son time. And now because Shoto asked, he couldn't really say no because it's his son. But he has that resentment towards the other kids, which is pretty funny. Shoto kind of apprehends him here. He's like, yo, you know, you gave your permission, so quit complaining. Bakugo here, straight up, he's just like, you know what, I've been thinking about this for a while, but this Endeavor dude's a hard ass. And I was like, wow. So he's there roasting Endeavor. And this is what I was actually saying before, and I think All Might makes mention of it, about how similar Bakugo and Endeavor are. So they kind of have like a little bit of a roast sesh where Bakugo's like, yo, this dude's a hard ass. Endeavor's like, I told you to make friends with like good people. Why you friends with this jackass? And we have Deku there, and he's just kind of obviously more polite, saying, you know, thank you for allowing us to join. He talks about how he has still a little bit of fear left in him in Endeavor. You know, after their initial confrontation at I think it was the sports festival. But he does also realize that Endeavor feels quite different now. We then see a conversation between All Might, Deku, and Bakugo. This is when he found out that they were going to go, that they were going to ask permission essentially to intern with Endeavor. He says straight away, he's like, that's an awesome idea. Go out there, learn from him. Deku's obviously concerned about his One for All training, and All Might says, you know what, so long as you still have that image of, you know, locking these quirks, there really shouldn't be any risk of them going haywire like before. So it's more like a mental imagery training. And Bakugo's just there obviously boasting like, if it was me, I could use all these quirks by now. But All Might actually gives some really good advice here, and I thought this was good, because All Might isn't just a teacher and a mentor to Deku. That's not what he's there for. He's a teacher and a mentor to all these kids, and especially Bakugo, who I feel like All Might feels responsible for as well. He actually gives some solid reasoning. He is like, you know what, this is an opportunity for you. You resemble Endeavor in many ways. I mentioned that in my last review. And he's like, you know what, being able to witness someone like Endeavor in action firsthand will be highly beneficial for someone like you. And if you two are aiming for the top, you can't let this opportunity pass by. So Deku's there saying, I'll learn all I can. And this is actually a really cool part. Endeavor remembers what Deku said to him. He gives him a sideways glance and he's like, you said Shoto isn't like me, or Shoto isn't me, if I recall. And Deku's just there like, what? And what I feel is that Endeavor has been really impacted by what Deku said. He's like, maybe he realized, well, he's definitely realized that he was just trying to create a mini me, this guy that had no social skills, this guy that was just a pure hard ass, essentially, like Bakugo said. And all he wanted to do was train Shoto into basically a mini military version of himself that could use ice as well. So I think here he's just kind of accepting the fact that he's like, you know what, you were kind of right. He doesn't actually say that to Deku, but then he notices something in the distance and he instantly bursts into action and he runs away. He's like, you know what, I hate to burst your bubble. I have no interest in training any of you guys. I want to train Shoto. And you know what, if you really want to learn something, stay behind me and watch carefully. And he's just there like acting like these kids wouldn't pursue him. He looks back and he's a little bit shocked that all three of them are fully prepared to go into action. Deku's slid on his gloves, Bakugo's put on his kind of cannon arm thing, Shoto's getting ready to he's just sliding over using his ice. They're all ready, and I thought this was such a cool moment. You know, they're all battle hardened, battle ready, and this is really where we see the uniqueness of Class 1A in the sense of these guys are always ready for a fight. They're always ready to dive straight into action. That's what they've been doing instead of, you know, the academic side of things, which the other class, I think is 1B, had been doing. This is their area of expertise: instant reaction and proactivity. So they dive straight into the fight. Endeavor's just like, all right, you've already heard my orders. Stay behind and watch. We see this guy. I thought it was Shigaraki. I was like, the frick? Like, Shigaraki can fly. But it's this dude sitting on these orbs. He seems to have some sort of telekinetic power where he can maneuver these orbs freely. And he has a whole bunch of these orbs. So he's just there smashing the shit out of everything. People are going crazy. Hawks lands on top of a nearby building, reading the Paranormal Liberation Front book. And this is where shit could go crazy. We have Endeavor and three of the kids, Shoto, Bakugo, and Deku. And Hawks is there as a double agent. And if he's been ordered to do something, maybe against Endeavor, maybe against one of the three kids, then this could turn really gnarly really fast. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping Hawks doesn't do something like that, but he may be in a situation where he has to. And then the situation that I said may come up, that tragic ending for Hawks may be coming faster than I thought and sooner than I thought. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a bit.